Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classics as Non-Classic. This is episode number 522 and Doubleshot number 430. Two Spider-Man trades, and they are from the Ben Reilly epic stuff. It's from the Clone Saga. Spider-Man, the complete Ben Reilly epic, Book 4 and Book 5. Starting off with Book 4, which collects issues 411 to 413. Daredevil, number 364. Sensational Spider-Man, 4 through 6. Spectacular Spider-Man, 234. Spider-Man, 68 to 70. Spider-Man Redemption, 1 through 4. Spider-Man Team-Up, number 3. And Spider-Man Limited, number 12. Writing by Tom DeFalco, Carl Ketzler, Dan Jurgens, Todd DeZigo, Howard Mankey, Jay Amadius, and Evan Snolgak, I think it's pronounced the first. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, but your name is kind of hard to pronounce. With artwork by Mark Bagley, Rick Leonardi, this is the guy who co-created Spider-Man 2099. Corey Nod, Dan Jurgens, Sal Buscema, John Ryan Jr., Mike Zeck, Bob McLean, who was the co-creator of the New Mutants, Steve Butler, Steve Granger, and Paris Cordos. Oh, and also, this is what the Hobgoblin looks like in this storyline. Yeah, he gets a cybernetic update, and this is Jason McIntyre still. Though I think, as far as I can tell, the Hobgoblin Live story comes about a couple years after this, at least about a year after this whole thing wraps up. Yep. First up is a 6-parter called Blood Brothers, which wraps up the whole thing with the skeleton. A 6-parter starts in Sensational Spider-Man number 4, which by the cover, that's also the cover of the issue. That's part 1. Let's see, what's part 2? Excuse me. I know I read this, I just want to get to the page here. Okay, part 3 is Spider-Man number 68. What's part 2? Let's see, I think I just passed it, didn't I? I'm trying to find it here. Damn phone. Part 3. Where's part 2? Is it Amazing Spider-Man? Here we go. Part 2 is Amazing Spider-Man number 411. Like I said, part 3 is Spider-Man number 68 with the Hobgoblin cover. Yep. This ain't your daddy's Hobgoblin. Yeah, here's the thing. Hobgoblin made his debut in I think it was the late 19s. I think it was the 80s. Yeah, it was in Amazing Spider-Man number, I think it was 239. Yeah, that was his debut appearance. Part 4 is in Spectacular Spider-Man number 234. Yeah, that's part 4 of this 6-part story. Part 6 is Amazing Spider-Man number 412. I think I just missed the cover for part 6. Part 5, excuse me. Part 5 is from Sensational Spider-Man number 5, which features the Multi-Man. Yep, the stepbrother of Liz Allen, who is still working for him, by the way. Yep, he still is. He works as a security guard at her company. What is her company? Alchemax. Yep, that's what she does in the comics now. Next is a standalone story where Ben Reilly takes on Jack-O-Lantern and Boomerang and the Beetle. This is before the Beetle became Mach 1. The Jack-o'-lantern is the second Jack-o'-lantern because the first one, of course, is the Hobgoblin. This is... I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I know that this particular Jack-o'-lantern is dead. Yeah, he got killed by the Punisher during Civil War. Yeah, this guy was the longest running Jack-o'-lantern. I think his name was Jack. I think his name was, yeah, Jack. Yeah, just a quick little standalone issue. Next is Spider-Man number 69, where he continues taking on the Hobgoblin. All this mysterious guy with the mask. Let me show you what the guy looks like. Yeah. This guy here. Yeah, he popped up. He's popped up now and again. As for who he is, I don't remember who this guy is supposed to be. Yep. After this issue, then it's Spartan Team number 3, where it's Ben teaming up with the Fantastic Four to go to some wizard stuff, and yeah, it's one of the most oddest ones, but it's an Android story. It's interesting, but it's odd. Yep, that's what the issue is. Just dealing with, well, that. Next is Sensational Spider number 6, which is just a spotlight thing on the character Jessica, who's the daughter of the burglar. Yep, it's just a focus issue on her. That's simply what it is. And after that, we have the 4-issue miniseries Spider-Man Redemption, which features the second return, the next appearance of Kane, when Ben reunites with one of his many girlfriends he had. I think her name is Jamie. I think her name is. Yeah, and I think after this he disappears again. I'm not sure when the next time he shows up. I think the only purpose of this storyline just to wrap up a loose end with the character, because I think they're going to, because I think they're starting to wrap up the whole Clone Saga stuff. Let's see here. After this miniseries, then it's a standalone issue which has Spider-Man fighting various different monsters. I think it's a Mysterio thing. Yeah, fighting various like bugs or whatever. Also fighting, basically he's fighting Mysterio and Armada. This guy is Armada. He's a weird villain. As far as I know, he doesn't pop up anymore. I'm not sure what happened to him. Nope. That was the standalone issue. Next, of course, is an issue of Daredevil, where it's just, well, Ben meeting Daredevil. We're also giving, like, if you didn't read Daredevil at this point, look up this particular issue, which is put in here. The only reason I put it in here because Ben makes guest star appearance. It just basically updates you what's going on the pages of Daredevil, despite the fact the whole issue is focused on Daredevil. But it's just Ben Reilly meeting Daredevil. Yep. While also basically referencing what's going on in the Daredevil title, which at this point, Matt just got back being a lawyer after being dead for a certain period of time. And, oh yeah, and his boss is this woman right here. Rosalind, let's see if I get this correctly. This is Rosalind Sharp. She is, believe it or not, the mother of Foggy Nelson. That is no joke. This woman right here is the mother of Foggy Nelson, and it's a good thing that Foggy never knew this woman was her mother, his mother at all. Yep. Because if he did, it'd be kind of weird to hit on a woman who's actually your mother. It's bizarre. The last issue in here is just something that says up late. It's just the appearance by Jimmy Six. Yeah, it's just a gangster story with leads some plot threads that will resolve later. Later stuff. Yeah, it's a quick little standalone issue. Yeah, Ben saves Jimmy Six's life, and he owes him a favor for that. Yep. And that's where the trade ends. Yeah, all the stories in here are really good, and you kind of figure, though, that you can tell that it's getting close to starting to hit, like, the wrap-up thing with Ben Reilly. But these are pretty good stories for what they are. Nothing bad with them, no. It's interesting, though, that Dan Jurgens, who in the 90s was noteworthy working on a lot of Superman, this is probably the only one of the very few major characters he ever worked on. He also worked on Thor. Yeah, he also did a brief run for Thor for a brief period of time. And he also did Captain America. So yeah, he's worked on a few Marvel characters, and all of them turned really good. I'm going to get this one a 9 out of 10. That's the interesting thing about the Ben Reilly stories. They're all really good. Yep. Next up is Book 5, which contains Amazing Spider-Man 414 to 416, material from A 96. Sensational Spider-Man 7 through 10, Spectacular Spider-Man 35-39, Spider-Man 71-72, Spider-Man Team number 4, and Spider-Man Limited number 13. Writing by Tom DeFalco, Todd DeZio, Howard Mankey, George Perez, and James Folder. Artwork by Mark Bagley, Ron Gurney, Ron Friz, Luke Ross, Mike Verdino. I think it's pronounced the guy's name. Sal Bushman, John Romita Jr., Steve Grainger, Derek Robertson, Dan Jurgens, Brandon McCurry, and Joe Bennett. Yep. And this is mostly just a series of standalone stories. Well, first up is a two-parter with... yeah, I say it's two-parter even though it's not really labeled as it. Yeah, also at the end of the previous trade, yeah, Peter Parker ended in the hospital. And they do make a note in here that the first 15 pages take place before what happened before he was collapsed in issue 70 of Spider-Man. Yep. Yeah, this whole point of this two-parter is just, well, Spider-Man team with Will-O-the-Wisp to take down Jonas Hathrow, which I got to admit, the artwork for him is a little better than when he first showed up. Yeah, when he first showed up, they put circles on his glasses. And this guy here, this is Jonas Hathrow, the same guy who made Hammerhead the way he is, and the villain who's now currently dead, the Kangaroo. Yep. Yeah, this is a quick little two-parter, which also appearance by Dragon Man, a character from the pages of Fantastic Four. Yeah, it's just two-parter from Spectacular Spider-Man 235 and 236. Yeah, that's what the thing starts off with. Yep. And then it's Sensational Spider-Man number 7. Just basically him figure out what happened with Peter. Yeah, this is just a quick little standalone issue. Yeah, that's the neat thing about Sensational Spider-Man. It seems that once what's the guy's name? It seems that when Todd DeZio and if I can find his name here, Mike Werdo. Yeah, basically he made the series a series of standalone stories. Yep. 414 is debut of the character Delilah, and this is how she looked in the first appearance. Yeah, she's an okay villain, and she works for the Rose, who is the son of Wilson Fisk. Yeah, his son's name is Richard Fisk. Yep. It's a nice little standalone story. Next is, I think, yeah, this is just a, next up is Spider-Man number 71. Yeah, it seems like Spider-Man at this point, for some reason, it made it into like a gangster series. Yeah, that simply put it, it's like, despite the fact you have stuff dealing with Peter in the hospital, it's mostly put Ben taking on gangsters. I'm not kidding. That's basically what Howard Mankey and Jeremy Jr. did. And the next up is the stuff with the Lizard. Oh boy, yeah. I will talk about this in a minute, but yeah. It turns out this is just a form of the Lizard, not the main body. Nope. But the whole storyline with Peter, I think, gets wrapped up with this particular one. Yeah. The whole thing of him having the hospital, yep, that gets wrapped up with this issue after he in the hospital for a few issues. That gets wrapped up. And he takes on the Lizard. He takes him on for pretty much most of the issue. And it turns out that the Lizard pop-up is not Kirk Connors, but that gets resolved a little bit later. Next in the trade, they put in here Spider-Man Limited 13, which is just Ben teaming up with Luke Cage and Iron Fist. And probably the best thing about this story is that you have these two guys taking on the frickin' Scorpion. Yeah, first it's Luke Cage taking on the Scorpion, then it's him working with Iron Fist and Misty Knight to take on the Scorpion. Yep. Jesus. What, Dad? Okay. My apologies for that. Yep. Yeah, at one point you see Misty Knight, she wears like this casual business suit with Luke Cage, where it looked like he's going back to his 70s look. That's what you first see her wearing. And then next time you see her, after this one scene, because the thing about Spider-Man Unlimited is that it's a really long issue. Next, she's seen putting on this suit, and there's this particular panel where they give like where she looks close up in this panel, and she kind of looks like, believe it or not, even though this is Misty Knight, the way she's drawn here with this suit, she kind of looks like Maria Hill. Tell me that does not look like how Maria Hill is normally drawn. Yeah. Though her bionic arm is not seen here because, well, I know she's got it, but they don't show it here. Nope. Oh yeah, and this is what Iron Fist looks like in the story. Man, this artwork looks so bizarre on him. Yeah, but after this one issue is over with, yeah, after this issue, Iron Fist later went to a mini-series, was to explore what's going on with him. Next is Ben teaming up with the Avengers, though he does not know he's been an Avenger. Yep. And ask what the Avengers look like in the 90s. This is so bizarre. Here's Thor around the mid-90s. Yeah. He ditched his shirt, ditched his helmet. All that's left from him is his pants, boots, gauntlet, and hammer. And his hammer in this panel looks very normal, but another panel looks very brown. Giant Man, that's how he kind of normally looks in the 90s and 2000s, when he is Giant Man. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that, but what the heck? And then all of his next time you see the hammer, next page, it seems like they colored the whole thing brown for some reason. Yeah, I don't know why. Cap looks okay, but at least he's not wearing that goofy attire. Of course, Black Widow was wearing, let me show you this here. Take a look at this page of the Avengers at this point. Like, right there, first you see the Vision, he looks perfectly normal. Crystal, and next to her, that's supposed to be the Black Widow. Yeah, that's her, like, mid-late 90s costume. It's really bizarre. Quicksilver looks normal. Let's see. Hawkeye is wearing his Giant Man costume. Yeah. Actually, not Giant Man. Yeah, there was a brief period of time where he operated as Goliath and he wore that particular costume. Yep. And the Wasp look like this. This strange thing. Yep. This happened at the events of The Crossing. And there was another thing that happened because of The Crossing. Let's see if I can find the page here. Teenage Tony Stark, which probably laid the inspiration for Iron Man Armored Adventures. And he hits on a woman who looks like who pretty much is 20 years older than he is. Yeah, it's a really odd issue, but yeah, all these team issues have to be very odd. This series only lasted for 7 issues, believe it or not. It did. Yep. Next is an issue where Spider-Man takes on the Looter. Yep. And then the issue ends with a 2-part crossover from Onslaught, which is first it's Amazing Spider-Man number 415. That's where it starts. And probably has the best shocking scene, even though we already seen the Sentinels already. Let's see if I can find it here. It's this really good scene. It's my favorite scene of the whole issue. It's like every time a conversation, I figure, what the heck is going on? And they hear us shaking, and look, it's the Sentinel attacking the Daily Bugle. Yep. Yeah, and the line is probably by far the most, awesomest line. It's like afraid the news was worse, people. It's the Sentinels. They're attacking the Bugle. Which makes this the second time the Bugle has ever been attacked by villains in the entire history. The last time was by Electro. Yep. And pretty much after it concludes here in Spider-Man number 72, they just deal with the aftermath stuff while trying to pick up there's one shot of picking up a Sentinel head with a crane. Issue 9 of Sensational Spider-Man is just Spider-Man versus the Swarm with a flashback to the Champions. Yep. Yeah, Swarm is the Champions villain. Yeah, he's probably one of 2 original villains that they had. Let me give you a good picture of him. Yeah, this guy here. He's fought Spider-Man a few times over the years, but generally put, he's a Champions villain. Him along with the character Rampage are the only 2 original villains that the Champions had because, well, they couldn't have much time because the series was suffering through the low sales. And no, it has nothing to do with the Mark Waid's Champions. Nope. Excuse me. And then after this, it's just a 2-parter for issues 9 and 10 for Essential Spider-Man. Takes in Swarm. 416, it's just basically just the aftermath of Onslaught. Here's a crane shot. Here's a crane lifting up a Sentinel head. Yeah, for some reason, Onslaught reprogrammed a bunch of Sentinels to work for him. Yep. Onslaught was this weird creature that was an amalgamation of Charles Xavier and Magneto. Yeah, and this creature also killed the Fantastic Four and the Avengers. Yeah, though the off-screen reason why is because Jeff Loeb and Rob Liefeld and Jim Lee were given the rights to reboot these 2 series along with Captain America and Iron Man. Thor apparently died toward the end of the event, though he later came back later. I think it was gone for about a year. Yeah, this is just, Spider-Man paying tribute while also advancing stuff with Scar, which they don't show his face in here. But they do tie a loose end with this lizard. Yep. That's simply put what these 2 issues are. Yep. As for who this lizard is, I don't really know, but it's not Kurt Connors. Nope, it's an imposter. Yeah, it starts from 416, ends up in Spectacular Spider-Man 239. Yeah, it's a finale with the lizard stuff, and the last thing in here is just the annual. Everything here is really good, and I'm going to give this book a 9 out of 10. It is really interesting to see what goes on around the mid-90s when it comes to stuff like this. Yep. So that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for the next episode. We'll talk about the final book of that book series, along with the original Clone Saga. Yep. And an episode after that, it'll be the final book for Clone Saga for right now. I'm hoping to get Clone Conspiracy in the near future, but along with the episode, the next episode after the next one, it will be the start of my reviews of the Superior Spider-Man series. Yep. I'll get my thoughts on that soon. Okay. But to see you in the next episode. Bye.